Hey everybody, welcome to the SMA Journey 51 blog. Okay, in today's video, I'm going to be introducing everybody to another pharmaceutical company that has an active, ongoing clinical trial for the treatment of SMA. The difference between this clinical trial that we're going to speak about today and the trials that we spoke about in the previous weeks is that this pharmaceutical company is addressing the issue of splicing the SMN2 gene. You know, our body has the SMN2 gene in it, and it does produce the SMN protein that our body needs. But the problem, when the SMN2 gene produces this protein, it doesn't produce it at a high enough level for our body to actually utilize it the way it should. And this ongoing clinical trial addresses the issue of splicing the SMN2 gene, and their hopes is that they can get it to produce either an entire protein or for the SMN2 gene to produce it at a higher level than it normally would. So this is an important trial that we need to pay attention to. So take a look at the PowerPoint presentation that I did, and afterwards I'll come back and I'll give you a few final thoughts. Okay, so in today's PowerPoint presentation, I'm going to be introducing everybody to Novartis Pharmaceuticals. And all of the links that I'm going to be using in this description can not only be found in the description of the video that you're watching, they can also be found on my website. Now in slide number 1, I'm copying all of this information verbatim from Wikipedia. Novartis International AG is a Swiss multinational pharmaceutical company based in Basel, Switzerland. It is one of the largest pharmaceutical companies by both market cap and sales. Novartis AG owns, either directly or indirectly, all companies worldwide that operate as subsidiaries of the Novartis Group. Novartis AG also holds 33.3% of the shares of Roche Pharmaceuticals, which is the pharmaceutical company that we spoke about last week. However, Novartis Pharmaceuticals does not exercise control over Roche Pharmaceuticals. Novartis also has 2 significant license agreements with Genentech, which is a Roche subsidiary. Now, this information again was copied verbatim from Wikipedia, and it talks about the drug that Novartis is using in their clinical trial. It's called branaplam. Branaplam, also known as LM1070, and it's also known as NVS-SM1, is a highly potent, selective, and orally active small molecule experimental drug being developed by Novartis to treat SMA. It is a pyridazine derivative that works by increasing the amount of functional survival of motor neuron proteins that are produced by the SMN2 gene through modifying its splicing pattern. As of March 2017, branaplam is in a phase 2 clinical trial in children with SMA type 1. Again, this information was copied verbatim from the Cure SMA website, and they talk about Novartis and their drug LM1070. Novartis has started a new clinical study to evaluate LM1070, a novel investigational oral compound for the potential treatment of infants with type 1 SMA. LM1070 treatment in animals prolonged survival and increased the amount of functional SMN protein due to more efficient splicing of the SMN2 gene. LM1070 is being tested to determine if it can produce improved motor neuron survival, muscle growth, motor milestones, and respiratory function in infants with type 1 SMA. The first in-human study will evaluate the safety and tolerability of LM1070 in type 1 SMA patients and explore the potential therapeutic benefits for all of these patients. This is an open-label study, meaning all patients will receive LM1070. Patients will receive LM1070 for 13 weeks. An increase in the dose of LM1070 and continuation of LM1070 treatment beyond the initial 13 weeks may be possible. To participate in the study, patients must be between 1 and 7 months of age when they enroll, and they must have 2 copies of the SMN2 gene. Now, this information was copied verbatim from the Cure SMA website, and they talk about the document that was published by Cure SMA back on June 3rd of 2015. Novartis has published a paper in the journal Nature Chemical Biology detailing promising results in their program to develop an orally available SMA drug that corrects the SMN2 splicing. In testing, the drug increased SMN protein levels and extended survival in a severe mouse model of SMA. Novartis is currently testing this drug in a phase 2 clinical trial at several European sites. The open-label trial is enrolling infants aged 6 months or less with SMA type 1 who also meet other inclusion and exclusion criteria. Complete information on the clinical trial can be found on the FDA's clinical trial registry. Individuals with SMA don't produce SMN protein at high enough levels due to a mutation in the SMN1 gene. Individuals with SMA do have one or more copies of the SMN2 gene, which also produces SMN protein, but most of the protein produced by the SMN2 gene lacks a key building block. Cure SMA has identified 4 possible therapeutic approaches for treating SMA, one of which targets the SMN2 gene. The goal of this approach is to correct the gene splicing, meaning SMN2 could produce a complete protein, or to prompt the SMN2 gene to make more protein. The Novartis group is one of several programs pursuing this particular approach. Now we're going to look at the ongoing clinical trial by Novartis, and this information was copied verbatim from the clinicaltrials.gov website. Last week when we talked about the other clinical trials, I said to go to the clinicaltrials.com website, and that was a mistake on my part. The clinical trials website is a .gov website and not a .com website, so I apologize for any confusion that may have caused. But in Novartis's ongoing clinical trial, this is an open-label study of LM-1070, also known as branaplam, in type 1 SMA patients. It's an open-label, multi-part, first-in-human study of oral branaplam in infants with type 1 SMA. The purpose of this study is to evaluate the safety, tolerability, pharmacokinetic, and pharmacodynamic and efficacy after 13 weeks, and to estimate the maximum tolerated dose, or what they call MTD, of orally administered branaplam, and to identify the dose that is safe for long-term use, as well as that can provide durable efficacy optimal dosing regimen in patients with type 1 SMA. Now last week, I gave you the definition of pharmacodynamics and pharmacokinetics, but I wanted to recap this one more time. Pharmacokinetics, which is the PK, is the study of how an organism affects a drug, and pharmacodynamics, which is the PD, is the study of how the drug affects the organism. Both together influence dosing, benefit, and adverse effect. Now, one other correction. Last week I pronounced these terms incorrectly. I called them pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics, and I should have said pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics. So again, I apologize for any confusion. The trial identifier for this ongoing trial is listed here, and I'm circling it now. The estimated enrollment for this clinical trial is 44 participants. Now, regarding the trial identifier, last week in video number 129, I showed you how to go to the clinicaltrials.gov website and plug in this trial identifier to pull up the entire trial, because I didn't list all of the information in my PowerPoint presentation. So if there's any questions, go back to video number 129 and I give you step-by-step instructions on how to do this. The actual study start date for this clinical trial was April 2nd of 2015. The estimated primary completion date is November 14th of 2019, and the estimated study completion date is again November 14th of 2019. The ages that are eligible for this study are up to 182 days old. So if you do common math and say that the average month is 30 days, you're looking at 6 months and less. So again, this is for infants. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the PowerPoint presentation and the information that I gave you. If you did, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I hope everybody has had a wonderful week. God bless you. And until next time, bye-bye.